Welcome to Leadership Unveiled. I'm your host, Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt. This show pulls back the curtain on what leadership looks and feels like through discussing a wide variety of topics, from mindset, strategy, to all the tools you need to define what success looks like for you. Thank you for being here. Now, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Leadership Unveiled. I'm Kayla, I'm your host. I'm happy to be here today. This is episode 113. And some of you might be like, wait, what happened? I thought this was Glow Getters Podcast. Well, as of episode 112, we changed the name from Glow Getters Podcast to Leadership Unveiled. So if you haven't listened to episode 112, go back, quickly listen to the beginning, and I talk all about why I changed the name. But essentially, I think this is just a little bit more fitting for the content that I want to share with you all, pull back the curtain of leadership, and show what it's really like behind the scenes as a leader and what you can do to be a better leader. So today I'm going to talk about purpose, but I want to tell a story I've never shared before. It's called the Eagle River Rock. It's actually kind of a new story to me. And so I was visiting my parents this weekend, and it made me think of this story that my mom had recently told me, and I thought, I really need to share this with you all. Before we get started, though, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping, announcements. So I'm going to be starting a brand new series that applies to both the podcast and my YouTube channel. So something really cool that happened over the weekend is I hit 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which I just want to take a moment to celebrate and to say thank you if you watch any of these podcast episodes on the YouTube channel. Sometimes they're there in both places and sometimes not. Like today, this is just solely on the podcast because, I'm wearing a hoodie and in my pajamas and not ready. Other times I am more professional and I do more professional looking videos. So my goal is actually to produce some videos that are more of a professional series. So I'm going to be working really hard on those to kind of have an organized sequence so that okay, I'm going to expect this video on this day and this video on this day, just so that you can come along with me in life throughout your week, anticipate what I'm going to post. So I'm working on sort of a book club with me. The working title is like Cliff Notes with Kayla, but it's not going to be that. It's going to be more just a book club style video/podcast where I talk in depth about a book that I love that's either like a leadership book, professional or a personal development book, so that you don't have to read every single book that I suggest. But part of being a leader is always learning and taking in new information, and I'm obsessed with reading or listening to audiobooks, so I thought I already sort of do this a tiny bit. I'll take inspiration from books and put them into episodes here and there, but I thought, let me do a weekly series on this to take you through different books. I'll have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel. That way, if you're like, I really like the book Illogical, for example, by Emmanuel Acho, I can just binge watch all the videos on that book. So I'm coming up with a list of books that I'm going to be talking through. I have already a list of 26 books. I think it's like a whole notebook paper long, but there's more. And so if there are books that you want me to do like a summary of or a book club or a focus on, let me know. Send me an email at kayla@kfaconsulting.org or send me a message on Instagram. You can do at KFA Consulting, or you can do the podcast Instagram handle, which is at Leadership Unveiled. I want to hear what you want me to talk about. I'm also doing a Feedback Friday, so you can submit your questions to me at kayla@kfaconsulting.org, or like I said, on the Instagram pages. I'll have all these linked in the show notes for you, so it's easy to remember. And just ask me a question about leadership or something you've been struggling with, personal or professional development, or maybe something you want advice about. And I will answer your questions on a weekly Friday video. I'm calling it Feedback Friday. And that one's going to be a little less production or a little less produced and just more chill, relaxing sort of virtual Q&A with me. And then I'm also going to be doing a skill building video. The working title right now is Skill Building Saturday, and I'm going to expand on anything I talked about during the week with the book or the questions and teach you a brand new skill, whether it's giving you a template of mine or something about mindset to help you develop that you can use starting in the next week. So you would get the video, be able to watch it Saturday, Sunday, and try it out throughout the week and see how it fits. Try it on, practice, and you can maybe ask me a question next week on the Friday feedback or Feedback Friday. So this is a series I'm working on. It's not out yet. I might do a Feedback Friday this week if I get enough questions, but we'll just have to see. So I'm really excited about that. And I think the first book is going to be called Illogical by Emmanuel Acho. He is the same person who wrote Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, or did that short video series and then made the best-selling book. So I'm excited. He just gave a keynote speech at Texas. I think he went to Texas A&M. I'm not sure. But he did a keynote speech for their graduation ceremony, and I watched clips of it on YouTube, and I'm just so super inspired. And the book was very inspiring. So I think you're going to really, really, really love me breaking down some of his concepts. That book just ignited a fire in me, and I think you're going to enjoy it too. So again, submit, let me know which books you want me to review. Let me know what questions you have via my email or Instagram accounts. Even if you see me post on LinkedIn, comment on one of those posts. So let's get started into today's topic now that we have that out of the way. So I always talk about purpose, finding your why, realigning with it, remembering it, especially using it to ground you in times when times are really tough, when you're having a difficult time. Maybe you've got difficult problems at work, or maybe you're facing a challenging thing that you've never done before. Or maybe you're just trying to decide, is this still the path that I want to be on? Does this still feel aligned? And I've talked about my teacher, Mrs. Dosey, and how she really got me into wanting to be in healthcare. And she was my 8th grade teacher, super inspiring to me. I've talked about how humans, they're my mission from the book A Christmas Carol, where, they talk about humankind was my business, mankind was my business, and how I really resonate with that statement. But I've never told the story of the Eagle River Rock. I recently was at the Wisconsin ASCLS, so it's like the American Society of Clinical Laboratory Science, and there's different chapters. I was at the Wisconsin one back in April, and I gave a talk called Creative Ways to basically work through or prevent burnout. I think it was the working title. Yeah, creative ways to handle or prevent burnout in the laboratory. And one of the stories I told was around purpose, and it was called the Eagle River Rock. So I was talking to my mom a few weeks ago, and she said to me, so my mom is a special education teacher, and she's a wonderful human. She works late into the evening, so she does one job during the day. She's a teacher, and then at night she is the district administrator, and for her area. And so she does a lot of paperwork and administrative stuff in the evening, which is wonderful. And she keeps her time written on a piece of paper or something on her desk, so that she can report okay, I spent X hours this week on this second part of my job. So she told me she has a rock from Eagle River, which is a northern city in Wisconsin. It's in Vilas County. It's a wonderful vacation place where my mom went as a kid when she was little. We all went as children, and we still go today. And I think even before that, when my grandpa was young, they had family members that lived there. So this place has so much history and means so, so much. There's this deep, even spiritual connection, I would say, with just us finding purpose in being in the North Woods and going up to Eagle River and spending time as a family. And so it's got a really special place in our hearts. Well, my mom's dad passed away a few years ago, my grandpa. He was amazing, Grandpa Buddy. And he never got to see what's happening now, but I think he would be super excited. So we've always dreamed of having an actual own place up in Eagle River, but instead what we've done is we've rented cabins on different places on different lakes over the years. And then over time, we've ended up staying at this one resort. And it's just 4 cabins on a lake, Lake Buckataben. It's a beautiful place. Not a lot to do except for just be at the lake and be in nature. It's wonderful. It's one of those places that didn't really have TVs or cell service for a while. Just a lovely place. And we would spend time walking down the road, on vacation, just like enjoying nice walks through the woods and chatting. And I remember my mom would always point to these different houses for sale or like properties for sale. And she's like, oh, one day, like maybe this place, maybe we'd have this place. I would love to stay there. Oh, maybe I wonder if they'd ever consider selling. And, it hadn't happened yet where they'd found somewhere and they weren't sure if they were going to be able to do it. Well, come to find out, eventually, after my grandpa died, my mom said, this has to be at some point a reality. And my mom and dad seriously started looking for property. So they ended up finding property and they bought this property. And I think my mom was just shocked because for her, she's just like, this is a huge step. This is a huge thing. Like, I cannot believe the thing that I've been manifesting is actually happening. Like, we've actualized it. We have a property. Well, okay, they have the property, but there's nowhere to stay on it. And they don't have a cabin yet, right? Every day that my mom works her second job, she does it for a lot of different reasons, but one of the things she does is that time that she spends turns into money that's for Eagle River. So she puts the rock that's from Eagle River from their property right on top of her time card. Every time she writes her time in, she moves the rock aside, writes her hours in, puts the rock back on top. Literally every single day, she's connecting what she's doing to why she's doing it. This money is going to pay for it someday where I can actually put a cabin on there. I can spend time with my family. I can enjoy it now, and then I can pass it on, and it can live throughout the generations. Just like the experiences that we've had up north before this, with my grandpa and his family and my mom as kids and us as kids. And now my kids are going up there. Like, how cool is that? Like, I have goosebumps thinking about that. So my mom's found this amazing way to, when it's really late at night or she's working extra hours and she's tired, to remember, like, you know what? This is hard right now. This is a moment. I would rather be doing something else, or, yeah, I love this. I'm just extremely tired. It's been a long week, but hey, you know what? This is why I'm doing it. And she's got the Eagle River rock. Like, most of the time, our purpose is something that's it's intangible. Like, it's not a physical rock. And so therefore it becomes a little bit hard for us to like conceptualize it and remember completely why we're doing something. So I want to challenge you to do something like what my mom did, is make it tangible. You keep a time card, put a rock on it. Or for me, I always put that book, A Christmas Carol, it's on my bookshelf, or I'll have it on my desk, or I have a picture of Mrs. Dosey sitting right here. I have a picture of my kids. I have quotes. I actually wrote down some really inspirational quotes or some reflections I had on what is my purpose. Turn that into a physical thing versus just this like thought or concept that floats around in your mind. So say it every day, reevaluate your purpose every day. Well, not every day, but reevaluate it when you need to constantly. I would say, a couple times a year, hey, is this still what I'm working towards? Oh yeah, remind yourself. And if it's not, let it change. At some point, if my parents decided, you know what, Eagle River is important to us, but there's something more important, that would be okay too. But for them, it's like, nope, yep, this is still what we want. And y'all, guess what? So this past week was my mom's birthday, my parents' anniversary, their 33rd anniversary. It's like I forget what year my grandpa passed. I think he passed in 2017. So 2018, 19, 20. Has it been 5 years? I don't know, but my grandpa passed away in May as well. My great-grandma passed away in May. It is a big month for us, and it just makes sense why this would happen. So they ended up breaking ground at their property that they've had for a couple years now to start building that dream cabin. Like, oh, I can't believe it. It just like brings me to tears. This is the most amazing thing. And I just picture my mom at her desk in the evenings with the Eagle River rock in her hands, being like, yeah, this is happening. And when I talk to her, she can't even believe it. And I said, Mom, you made it happen every single day. You literally made it happen every single day. And now it's coming true. And it's just surreal, but it is completely real. So remember your purpose, make it tangible, something that you can hold in your hands that you can physically see, so that when it's hard to conceptualize and you have all these thoughts in your head, you can look down and be like, oh yeah, my Eagle River rock. What is your Eagle River rock? All right, everybody, I hope you take care. Please leave a good rating or review for this podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, it really helps me get in front of more people. My goal is to be a top 200 leadership management podcast, and I need to put a date on it so I actualize it. But I would love that. That would help me, get this podcast out to more people. Be sure to check out the show notes with all the details for how you can submit your questions for Feedback Friday, so you can submit your book ideas for when I do book reviews. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so that if you're looking to watch those videos, get more than just what I have on the podcast, actually see me giving those detailed talks about leadership. Please do that, because now that I have over 500 subscribers, I have the community tab. So I can start doing polls on my YouTube channel to see what you want to see, and I can post what's coming next and give you guys some insider knowledge. All right, everybody, take care, and I hope you have a good week. And until next time, be a light. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to that episode. I thought I would provide you with a few additional resources before you go. If you are interested in learning more about your purpose as related to this episode, I have 4 additional episodes I want to share with you that you can go back to. So episode 109, How to Remember Your Why and Connect to Your Purpose. That's where I talk about my story about Mrs. Dosey and A Christmas Carol, if you didn't catch that episode. Episode 94 is called When You Lose Your Excuses, You Find Your Results. I give you a wonderful quote that helps provide you motivation to focus on your purpose, to accelerate and get results. I also talk about leader standard work in that episode. Episode 85 is called Feeling Unfulfilled in Your Work. Use these tips to renew your energy. That is another motivational podcast with tangible tips to move forward. And lastly, episode 105 is on the new intentional growth tool, a discussion on greedy work. So I actually have a tool. It's sort of a planner that can take you through thinking about your purpose and also planning for your intentional personal or professional growth throughout the year. It's a tool that I use and I talk through it. And then I also reflect on a conversation, I think it was up through the Harvard Business Review podcast, Women at Work, and they talk about the concept of greedy work, which was a new one for me. So I think you will enjoy that as additional resources to continue your learning. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening and take care.